that wanna represent your life. We start with anybody, so make your choice right.
Select and make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select and make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select and make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Alrighty. So let's go ahead and step ourselves into the situation here. Just a second. We got a little bit of maneuvering here, and we are good to go. Alrighty. Fun times to be had. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom, and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Here we go. So, I gotta tell you, there was a lot that was missed, and so we're still playing catch up. And this right here will lead to a much larger project later. That was a wrestling, I think it was that Wrestleholics podcast that DSP was on and shit, and they talked about a bunch of stuff. So I'm kind of, this will help lead into that. But we're going to talk a little bit today about DSP speaking on the first of 3 new hosts for Smart Guys 2.0. Ethan Ralph, in particular, for those of you who know, you know. So we're going to actually go over that, speak on it, because I didn't get a chance to do so. And kind of getting to look through the lens of hindsight. And, you know, have a good chuckle over it. See if there was any cracks in anything beforehand. And move on from there. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into some prep here. Let's go ahead and jump into my favorite segment. Hopefully your favorite segment as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. And I'm buying. So the first 3 rounds are on me, just in case anybody forgot. Especially since we're going into the fall. And you know I like my pumpkin spice as much as the next person. So after the fallout with Kino Casino and PPP in particular, DSP decided to go off on his own, and does that by collecting enemies or in-house dents to try to keep the show going. Now, most of you are probably wondering, well, why didn't he just give up on the show altogether after PPP left? Well, for one, DSP still thought that the show could still carry itself without PPP. He always looked at it as the reason why the show failed was PPP's fault. Or Triple P, as I like to call him. It was his fault that the show failed. By doing it on his own, he thought it would continue the nostalgia from the original show he had with John, and he could try to prove, you know, Kino Casino wrong, and he was the real draw, which he failed at miserably. On top of that, he also was like, well, I'll just go ahead and collect your enemies, and I'll try to turn them against you. Which, this situation right here is kind of what led to the 666 podcast, and all that nonsense. DSP is incredibly petty. He's incredibly petty. So if he'll try to get back at you any way he sees fit, because DSP don't think, because he can't think. He's reactive and not proactive. There's nothing strategic about any of this. He already knew who Kino Casino had problems with, and he put that shit in his back piggy pocket to be used later. And that's exactly what happened. And it didn't work out. It worked out poorly. In any case, he's going to announce Ethan Ralph here, and we'll see what goes on from there. I don't know if I cut this, or Diggs cut this, or Asian GTG cut it, or maybe we all 3 did. I can't remember now. So I'm just going to give credit to Asian GTG and Diggs for this. In any case, that's what we're going over. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And let's go ahead and move on, excuse me, with the broadcast at hand. Let's see here. Let's continue to go with our motif, so to speak. And let's see here, is this it? No, that's not it. Is it this one? It's this one. Here we go. Alrighty. So, let's see here. Let's that up. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give proper introductions, shall we? Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Raw Phil, big ups. And this was cut by Diggs and Asian GTG, big ups to both of them. And let's see here. Darkside Phil speaks on his first of 3 new hosts for Smart Guys 2.0, Ethan Ralph. This is from March 20th of 2025, our year of the snake, and pretty much the snakening, to be honest with you. So we're kind of in the early stages of King Snake snakening. We're not there completely yet, but we're not far off. So that's the thing. And without further ado, actually, here we go. I don't smell no bacon cooking.
We'll talk about it when we get to it. But we've got 3 weeks. We got this week and then 3 more weeks until WrestleMania. Okay.
Oh, and that was my last point from my TED Talk. He really thought that if he goes over the WrestleMania show, like the lead up to WrestleMania, he thought that would bring in some of the wrestling crowd, which is rather voracious on YouTube and Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, respectfully. So he thought he could at least tap into the YouTube side of that, and maybe even the Twitch side too, because Twitch has a pretty decent sized wrestling crowd over there as well. So there's that. And obviously he failed miserably, because like I said, he's in this little niche part of the internet. There is no escaping at all. If he gets any recognition, it's because someone made something viral or went viral mocking him. He'll never be looked at, or he'll never be praised or held to any type of real expectation outside of being a lolcow in the story. All right, here we go.
We'll talk about it when we get to it. But we've got 3 weeks. We got this week and then 3 more weeks until WrestleMania. Okay, because WrestleMania is around the end of April. So, what are we going to be doing for the next 3 weeks? Here's the announcement you're all waiting for. Okay, I am going to do 3 weeks of co-hosts here on the show.
Actually, and also something else that should be taken into account. I'm sorry. Something else that should be taken into account is how he needed to be carried up till WrestleMania. That's another thing too. And that kind of, I guess you could say, that speaks to his autism or whatever the case may be. But he's used to being carried show after show after show. And the show, and I think the 1 or 2 shows he did alone, like this one here, for example, failed miserably. So he needed someone else to bounce off of, someone who actually cared about it or had an actual genuine interest in it to propel him and push him forward. I think that's something very important to point out as well.
Starting next week, the 27th of March, and then the week after and the week after. 3 straight weeks. Each week, we will have a different co-host here on Smark Guys.
And then I think at the end of it, after WrestleMania, didn't he have all 3 of them? He didn't have all 3 of them up there. He had them in segments, if I remember correctly. And I think one of those guys couldn't show up. I think he just sent DSP a manifesto of what he thought of the event. But I think Ethan went up there, and I think the other guy ended up coming up there. But like I said, they weren't up there at the same time. They came in segments, I think, if I remember that correctly.
Now, originally, my idea was to just kind of randomly do it and have no established order. Then I said, that doesn't make sense because I need to tell these guests ahead of time so they can prepare. That'd be pretty stupid. So I said, all right, but maybe what I'll do is I'll do like a mystery lineup. Okay. And we'll see, won't tell you who it's going to be. They'll know who it's going to be, but you won't. But what ended up happening was yesterday I did a show on my other channel, DSP Gaming, and that show went a certain way with a lot of nonsense and drama. And during that show, the crowd was demanding, or not really demanding.
What was that, March 19th? I'll have to go back and look if I haven't done something on that already. That might be interesting. We'll see what March 19th had entailed.
Requesting that someone be a part of the show. And based on that feedback, I reached out to the person, made them an offer, they accepted. And so FYI,
made them an offer. I mean, wouldn't that imply that you pay? I mean, no, I guess you could make them an offer and not pay them, but that seems kind of weird. It's kind of more like, hey, would you mind coming on to the show? It's more of a request than an offer, because an offer would have some type of incentive behind it. Anyway, sorry, I'm overthinking this. I'm overthinking this. DSP don't pay nobody nothing. Well, there's that early bird situation, but we all know how that all played out. And truth be told, by the way, I'm starting to lean towards, I've kind of always held this theory. So I don't know if, we don't know, let's say it that way. we don't know if DSP actually paid Early Bird. That could have easily have been Cat under DSP's account. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. It could have easily have been Cat and whatnot, and just doing it under DSP's name. But like I said, that's just my theory. It's not exactly a Theo theory, but it's just my theory. Big ups to Theo.
Already kind of leaked because he got excited and posted it up on the internet before I had a chance to even reveal it. So next week.
That's actually kind of funny too, because he cried and complained the exact same way about Stuttering Craig and Side Scrollers when they announced DSP that was going to be on the show before DSP was ready to do it. No. I got it. I'm sorry. I got it in reverse. No, I think I'm right. Because I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure Stuttering Craig and Side Scrollers announced DSP was going to be on the show. DSP got mad that he announced that they had announced him before he was ready to tell his own audience. I think DSP wanted to break it to his own audience first, and then Side Scrollers were supposed to do it. I can't remember what that situation was, but DSP was super butthurt about that shit. So there's that. So it's funny how that kind of mirrors itself.
Okay. On March 27th, the 11th episode of Smart Guys, my first guest co-host will be Ethan Ralph. Okay? Many of you probably know him. Maybe some of you don't. If you do, doesn't really matter. This is not an established, not a test of his history or past. It's a test of how he can do on a pro wrestling commentary show.
He did fine. Actually, I honestly think that if Ethan and fucking the Kino Casino didn't have their blood feud, I think PvP and Ralph could have some pretty fair back and forth with each other. I think as it pertains to wrestling and wrestling knowledge. Honestly, I think those two could carry a show with each other, and because they already have that natural animosity against each other, that could literally be frenemies. Wrestling edition. That might actually slap. That might actually do fairly well, or at least it could. But whatever.
All right, so he will be here next week. We will see how it goes. Now, for the 2 weeks after that, each week there will be a different co-host, okay? All of the people who I have as co-hosts all have experience doing internet content, shows, etc., all right? Now, there are various different levels of fame, infamy, whatever you want to say, but I think that all three of them might actually be a really good fit for the show. That's why we're doing these test weeks. Okay, so I think it'll be exciting and interesting to test different people for 3 weeks. And then what I want to do is after WrestleMania, there'll be two critical things that I want to test. The first thing I want to test is very simple. Should I even continue with the show? Because now that things have changed, will a pro wrestling commentary show still hold value and popularity over the next month to 2 months?
It just goes to show, just like I told you back then when this was all going on, Smart Guys was completely and utterly predicated on PPP. It was completely dependent and relied on PPP. In the story, if he supposedly always loved wrestling and he took off for 5 years and now he's getting back in and he's excited about it and he's invested all this money into getting different things and all this shit, why are you so quick to give it up after WrestleMania? Sounds like a poser. Sounds like a fake. Sounds like a fraud. Mayweather fan or fair weather fan, if you will. Fly by night type shit. That's what it sounds like.
After WrestleMania is over, or will all the hype for wrestling die? Will all the interest in the show wane? And maybe we should retire it for now. Maybe bring it back in the future.
And this idiot's missing John Cena's entire retirement tour run and shit, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Which is drumming up a lot of semantics. Whatever. Whatever.
Maybe do another hype next year. Hype from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania.
Fraud. Told you, literally a fake fan. Poser. Literal poser. It's just like how he only shows interest in football when the Super Bowl is going on. He only shows interest in basketball when the NBA Finals are going on. Shit like that. You know what I mean? Just like that. Just an absolute fucking fake-ass person. This fraud. Poser. Absolute fucking useless. Don't have any interest in anything. Never did. He only had as much interest as the people around him do.
Right?
And what he can profit from, I should say.
We'll see. Okay, we'll see what happens there. So that's number one. But also, after the WrestleMania show, maybe if I decide to continue the show, then I will decide, hey, out of the 3 people who actually were the guests, right? Who's the best? Who did the best job? And judge based off of, you know, not only how they actually did, your feedback, all of those factors, okay? And that could determine, hey, who's going to be perhaps a more permanent co-host, okay? Or maybe it was so good having the variety of guests, maybe I would want to have a rotating panel of people to be on the show to keep it fresh. I don't know. But this is the first time in my life that really I've had options like this, and people actually want to be a part of my content, which
That's really sad. That's really, really sad. For the first time in my life, I've had options and people wanted to deal with me. Oh, let me bring that part back. That's a sad thing to admit. Very, very sad. And which, yet again, it kind of proves the active theory that not just myself but other people have, that he obviously craves companionship. He obviously craves being around people, wanting to socialize with people, but he don't know how to. And he's so scared of his reputation. He's scared of his own reputation, his own infamy, right? His own notoriety, for bad, mainly for bad or worse. That he doesn't want to reach out to anybody because he's afraid of the rejection. That's really, really fascinating. Sad too. It's kind of pathetic.
all of those factors, okay? And that could determine, hey, who's going to be perhaps a more permanent co-host, okay? Or maybe it was so good having the variety of guests, maybe I would want to have a rotating panel of people to be on the show to keep it fresh. I don't know. But this is the first time in my life that really I've had options like this, and people actually want to be a part of my content, which I find bizarre because I've been like the hermit living on an island doing everything for himself for the last 10 plus years.
Which is what you wanted. You said that was by your own design. So let's not act like that was anything more than a personal choice.
It's weird to me that people are like, oh, I want to be part of your content. Can I be a co-host? Like, wait, what? You want to be on my show? Me? I'm no
show. Show. Oh man, whatever. It is what it is. I get it. Oh, it's always funny when he says it though.
one. I'm not some big shot. I don't get a lot of views, but people are interested. So hey, listen, I'm not complaining. Any options are good options.
Funny though, it was only what, 2 years ago when he was begging for people to do interviews with him. Womp womp.
Let's see how it goes the next few weeks, okay?
Cope sip.
So I can already tell you on both chats, there's different people talking about this kind of stuff, about various things about Ethan Ralph and the possibility of co-hosts and the like. So I'm glad you guys are excited and it's getting you guys buzzing about it, right? It's any kind.
Getting you guys buzzed. You drinking already, Phil? Oh, the joke's right itself.
Kind of hype, any kind of interest, it's good. I'm sure next week having a first co-host with Ethan Ralph is going to be exciting. People are going to be joining just to see how it goes. And, you know, we'll play it by ear. All right? I hope that sounds fair to everyone. I hope that's a amicable arrangement. All right? Now, as you know, I've changed the format of the show. Okay? What do you mean? It's basically me. I'm going to be talking a lot about wrestling commentary. I am going to do shout outs here and interact with you guys in a second because I have some contributions already to shout out, and it is a very interactive show. If you contribute during the show, I
love how he, in our current day and age, though, he's fucking, well, not even currently. He's been doing it. He's always done it, where he holds contributions hostage, waiting for the next big contribution to come in. He's always done that. You know what I'm saying? He did it during Smart Guys, to be honest with you. Kind of, sort of, because PvP was quick to point out, hey, you need to shout that out. You need to shout that out. Where, you know what I'm saying, DSP couldn't really afford to be as greedy as he usually is. But DSP really needs to stop doing that. Like, you're not getting anywhere with it, to be honest with you. And I honestly think it's only going to force him to start faking tips even more often. And yes, I am very much someone who believes that he does fake tips. Not all of them, but I do think he does fake tips, especially if it'll get him over sometimes. When it'll sometimes get him over and show that it was a success. You know what I'm saying? Or if he has a drought of like 3 or 4 streams where they're not hitting a goal, you know what I'm saying? The desperation comes in and he knows it's always something that he has in his back pocket. So it is what it is on that.
Shout out your contribution, directly respond. This is something that I wasn't doing in the previous format when it was me and the former co-host, and we were just talking constantly, and there really wasn't really time to get in a word edgewise. Now, the show format has changed.
Don't even want to say his name. I don't even want to say his name. Oh, he's so petty.
Where now it's going to be very interactive. It worked last week. Last week, the show went well. Everyone seemed to like the format. We hit multiple goals. It was amazing. Now, the question is,
you know what, DSP? You should get a triple P tattoo on your arm like Rich did for you. You should do that. That'd be funny. That would be funny. I think so. You should have the Smart Guys logo with the X across it and then have triple P at the bottom. That'd be hilarious. You should have triple P was here. That would be hilarious. Oh, shit. That'd be funny. Probably even more funny, Phil, if you had it as a tramp stamp. But, you know, it is what it is.
am I now going to see diminishing returns? Was last week the one good week, and now every week moving forward, it's going to go less and less and less? I don't know. To be frank with all of you, if this show loses engagement, attendance, and support, and by WrestleMania the show is like dead, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'd much rather spend my time on projects that people are interested in.
Fake fan, poser, fraud. Yeah, it all matches up or lines up.
Okay. I did tell you guys I would be interested in doing this through WrestleMania. So let's see how it goes through WrestleMania and go from there. Okay. Fair enough. So I promise you there will be shows through WrestleMania, 3 shows, guest hosts. All right. And then after.
Now that I think about it, I'm curious if going into 2026, is he really going to start, or is he really going to pick it back up on the road to, well, leading up to the Royal Rumble and then through WrestleMania? I wonder if he's really going to do that. The answer is no. More than likely he's not. Not unless he can find someone of status that's willing to carry him, and I doubt he'll be able to do that. So, womp womp to that one.
After that, we completely reassess. But if you like the wrestling commentary, if you like the idea of me of having guest hosts, maybe rotating hosts or another permanent host, support the show. Just show up, engage, support. And by the way, when I say that, support the show after the fact, with this show being an archive on the DSP Reacts channel, because I leave these streams archived so you can watch them after the fact. Okay? And so I hope.
But he won't leave his own gaming streams up unlisted on the DSP Gaming channel, so he doesn't lose the views that came with that. Okay, that makes sense. So leave this available for the few hundred people who are willing to watch it, but have thousands of views, well, 1,000 or a couple thousand, let's say that, on the gameplay streams, and all he has to do is unlist it. Because the URL, he can leave the URL on his community page and get rid of all that. That's bad. Fucking idiot, man. Holy shit. Just literal definition of ass backwards.
That you will consider, maybe watching, liking, maybe leaving a super thanks on the video after the fact as well. All that stuff helps, okay? And also, one other thing to consider. Between now and WrestleMania, I'm pretty much just going to focus on WWE. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now over in AEW. A lot of bad stuff. Like last night, they had a match where it was John Moxley versus Adam Copeland. And Moxley took this insane bump onto an actual spike bat. And the actual spikes went into his back and destroyed his flesh. And they, on camera live on Dynamite, they were pulling it out and it was bleeding. It was disgusting.
Is this the first time you've seen someone get juice? Like, what? Like, oh, man. I know he lies and he says he never watched the Attitude Era, which is bullshit, clearly. But this is nothing new, bro. I mean, I know people are very selective about it because of the networks and shit, but this is nothing new. To be, especially not Moxley. He clearly isn't mentally stable, and I assume his substance abuse is starting to get out of hand, or it was anyway. All right, whatever. Whatever.
And everyone's saying these guys are spiraling and they're going too far and their promotion's falling apart. So it definitely could be an opportunity.
Well, yeah, AEW is definitely not in a good spot. You got a bunch of talent that's just being fucking squandered and shit. And I think the concept of the fantasy matches that Tony Khan was bringing to the table on top of what the Young Bucks are fucking doing behind the scenes and amongst others, it's turned into fucking Pee-wee's Playhouse where the real talent's just going to get swooped up and go somewhere else, which most of them probably should anyway. Like, I honestly think, I know not everybody's big on Orange Cassidy, but I am. I think that dude's entertaining as shit. He's being wasted over there. Like, holy shit. He's being wasted over there. Fucking A. I'd love to just see him somewhere else. Like, I'd rather him just be the cell sword he used to be on the indie fucking scene instead of the shit he's doing over there at AEW. But that's just me, though. Or AEW, sorry.
That after WrestleMania,
amongst others, he's not the only person that's being wasted over there, but he's just the example that I'm coming up with at the moment. And Jesus Christ, man. Like, Jericho needs to just hang it up. Amongst others, but Jericho just needs to hang that shit up. It's done.
instead of being so focused on covering WWE, that we change our focus over to other promotions such as AEW. I have access now with my VPN. I can watch NXT.
And see, that would have been smart for him to do after WrestleMania, but he didn't do it. Because DSP has to be one of these all or nothing type people. And so, you know what I'm saying? If the WWE wasn't interesting you, or holds no interest over you or sway after WrestleMania, cool. Transition over to some of these other wrestling organizations for the next couple months until something comes up that piques your interest. But he won't do it because he's lazy and he's stupid and he's not a real fan. He's a fucking poser.
You guys want me to maybe dabble in TNA? I would be open to doing that stuff.
And he's not willing to commit to nothing either. That's another problem he has. He's just not willing to commit.
Per how things go. But again, it depends on how things go. If you guys are going to be showing up, engaging, and supporting with these streams, I'm very much in line with saying, hey, let's go ahead and let's keep doing the show. Now, when I say support, I want to be very transparent here. It's not like the old show where my old co-host is sitting here saying we should be hitting $500, $600, $700. I don't expect that. I don't.
You didn't fight against it when he was doing it. So, huh?
I'm not, I mean, it would be nice to make that much every week. Don't get me wrong. If you did support the show like that, I would be ecstatic. But I'm not expecting that. I would say a reasonable amount is my goal that I usually have for any other stream that I do, which is the $150 of support across all platforms, whether that's super chats, memberships or gifted memberships on the YouTube side, whether that's subs or gifted subs on the Kick side, or whether that's tips. All right. They all count. They all add up. $150 of support per show. If we hit it, I'll keep doing it. Okay. Does that sound fair? I hope that sounds fair. So if you like it, you want to see it going, you want to see me unpack a pack of cards at $100 tonight, let's get that going. You want to see the show continue?
Oh, the card unpackings. And then listen to this piece of shit. All I want is the $150 that I already have set. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? I'm not asking for any more than that. Then follows that up with, oh, you guys hit $100 though, or for every $100 we hit, card unpacking. Scumbag. Absolute scumbag. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why DSP is his greatest detractor. He is always going to be his greatest detractor. Fantastic. If you think about it, he has his own little cabal. If you think about it, DSP, Darkside Phil, Phil Burnell, Dark Geppetto, like they all work against each other and whatnot. But anyway, at the end of the day, Darkside Phil is his greatest detractor, no matter what. Tried, true, and tested.
Let's get that going. Let's do it. All right. So now let's get to it. Let's start with shout outs. We'll go through these. We'll answer your questions. We'll see what you guys are doing. And then we will go ahead and and then we will continue with the show and do the commentary. Okay. By the way, Jay Will says, why are Dark Side dabbing and Cheese something in the Kino Casino chat talking crap about you? I don't know. Why don't they answer that in the Kick chat right now publicly? Because if they are doing that and they think that they're going to be like a snake jumping between streams, I think that they should just step out right now and not return. Oh. But I don't know, because I don't know if they're doing that or not. I'm not watching that stuff. I'm doing my own content. Okay. But just so everyone knows, this is an important thing to bring up. There are snakes all over the internet. And especially when it comes to my content.
So wait, I don't know if we've done King Snake yet at this point. I don't think we're here yet. But it's funny how that's already in his head. Or he had to have been saying that they were going to snake him eventually. So that must have been a term he was already using. So he's just going ahead and repeating it. Fun stuff.
There are people who literally stalk people, no lie, from stream to stream to stream to stream. Like this happens literally every day. And this used to happen with my detractors, not the casino, but my other detractors. Basically, people would tell me behind the scenes, did you know that...
Your other detractors? Okay.
At so-and-so is in the detractor chat and they're talking crap and they're contributing. And the truth is, I can't stop.
His Gouty Gestapo was the one who was doing that shit. They were sitting there keeping an eye out. This, especially when he was on Twitch. They were like, he has people in his inner circle, mainly his mods and shit. They used to keep an eye out on like certain people in the regular stream chat. If they were over on like LSB streams, or if they were on Agent Proper streams, or if they were on Dark Dave Mirror streams back in those days, or if they were in Tevin streams. DSP knew where all those guys were. You know what I'm saying? Shit, go back and watch some of the older, the old Tevin streams around that time. You can literally see people in Tevin's chat or people in DSP's chat responding to people in Tevin's chat and going back and forth. It used to happen in LSB's chat too. And it always happened in Dark Dave Mirror's chat. Oh man, those are fun times. Absolute fun times and shit.
Anyone from doing that, nor is it my job to babysit or monitor any of that crap. Okay, it's not my job. It's not. But if you're in my chat,
I guess you could say that was like my generation's version of like Freedom Chat, which is what they had before my time and whatnot amongst early DSP detractors and stuff like that. Just to give you guys an idea or some type of form of comparison.
you got to behave and abide by the rules. If you're going to be a moderator of mine, like Dark Side Dabbing is, you've got to abide by the regulations of being a mod. If I find out that you're doing underhanded stuff, I'm going to publicly shit can and shame you, just like you deserve.
I thought you said you didn't care what people do outside your streams, though. That's the reason why Derek was able to run around rampant. Now all of a sudden it's a problem? Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
All right, so I'm laying down the rules right now. Hope everyone understands. That's how it is with me. Everyone gets a fair shake. These people haven't shown me any reason to be upset. And, I haven't seen that. But if they really are snakes and they're trying to plan on doing something, well, they better stop right now because they're just going to be publicly exposed, when they start acting up. Fair enough?
Sounds like cope.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay? Okay. All right, moving on. Again, that's drama nonsense. I don't even care. Let's get to shout-outs. Okay.
I do want to see what happened on March 19th, though, if I haven't done a video on it already. I'm kind of anxious to see what blew up over there. That might be interesting.
So we start with a $5 tip tonight from Slayer. Thank you, Slayer, for the first contribution of the night. Let me get my my dashboard open to pop-ups. My bad, because I had to restart my PC. I had major tech issues earlier this morning that destroyed my podcast. It ended up being like over half an hour late because all kinds of stuff had gone wrong. But I think we got everything working here tonight for the show.
Because this dent can't get up, right, and go into his office an hour early, turn everything on, make sure everything is in its place, do his updates and things like that, and then go ahead and finish the rest of his morning off and then show up on time. Because he's that stupid. Everybody else seems to be able to do it, but he can't. And this is supposed to be his job. This is his business. This is how he puts fucking DoorDash on the fucking table and shit. And still can't figure out how to do it right and be proactive. Wow.
Slayer, the first tipper of the night, $5. Let's see what Slayer has to say. I can't wait for the show tonight, the big announcement. There's the announcement. 3 guest hosts lined up for the next 3 weeks, one of which is Ethan Ralph next week. And then we'll have 2 other guest hosts moving forward. And we're going to give them basically a tryout and see how it goes. That's the announcement. I did enjoy SmackDown and Raw this week. I like crowd reactions. The matches were fine. Good promos. John Cena's heel promo was good. And I do think it would have been nice to have a reference to Thugonomics Cena. But by itself, this is good. And his acting as heel is good. As for the Paul Heyman promo, I have a theory. You realize he keeps downplaying Rollins, that he will never be good. What if it is him downplaying Rollins and he turns on Reigns and sides with Rollins during WrestleMania and no one sees that coming because he criticizes Rollins severely? By the way, NXT was great again, and I can't wait for the next show. Yeah, I haven't seen NXT at all. That is the one promotion of WWE that I know is a major show every week, and I didn't see it once yet. I would like to see it at some point when it makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense now that we have to be focusing on all these heavy WWE storylines leading into WrestleMania. If I already got to watch 2 shows a week, I don't want to have to watch a third and a fourth. Like I said, moving forward past...
And yet, he just literally tried to sell them on the idea of going off and watching other orgs. He'd probably call them federations, but watching other orgs and shit, right? And being willing to jump around and see what all these other people, all these other situations are doing. Wrestling promotions are doing. But now he's sitting here saying, "Oh, well, I don't want to do more than 2 because it's already too much as it is." Because, like I say, he's not passionate about it. He don't care about it. He treats everything like it's a job. It's just another task to be accomplished. And are you going to pay for it or not? That's all it is. If that's the case, then there's a reason why he hasn't gone anywhere. Great screenshot, by the way. There's a reason why he hasn't gone anywhere over the last, X amount of years. There's a reason why no one takes him seriously. There's a reason why more and more people are starting to grow on the idea that he does this because he has to. Because he doesn't have any other prospects or options. This is all he can do. Hence the reason why it's all he will do. Till the casket drops.
WrestleMania. If this show does well, if we're hitting the goals, if people are showing up, if people like it, I would consider watching other promotions, doing other things. Okay, let's see how it goes into WrestleMania. King Michael, good evening. How are you? Good to see you.
Hope sip.
Well, I don't have CW, Winter Soldier. I don't have any TV. Winter Soldier says NXT is free. I don't have any TV. Why would I? I just
Download the app.
have some on-demand services, but I do have VPN. So if it's on demand somewhere, I can use my VPN to change to whatever, I think people were saying it's on Netflix if you use a VPN or something like that, right? Okay. All right. So super chats on YouTube. Let's get started. Tonight we got Mr. Watson with a $5 super chat. How much to make Ralph permanent second chair? Well, I think I've explained my methodology here of how we're going to do it. We're going to have several trial weeks of different.
Made a lot of money with Ralph that stream too. Of course, the view bots were live in full effect, so that was a thing too. But quite a bit of money, quite a bit of contributions from the Ralph retort, or the kill stream, I should say, audience. Quite a bit, to be honest with you. And even then, DSP was still squeamish, which is for good reason. Ethan's not somebody to be playing with.
People, give everyone a try, a fair shake, see how everybody does, right? I'm curious, different levels of knowledge, different levels of exposure to pro wrestling, how that will affect people's ability to commentate with me on the show, and go from there.
I.e., how well these people can carry me to the finish line shit. So you have Wings of Redemption's carry to Diamond. You have Review Tech USA during the fucking DK oldies when fucking, what's his name, Jay had to carry his ass through that shit. And now DSP was trying to find someone aside from PvP to carry his ass through Smart Guys. Imagine that.
So there you go. No amount of money to buy someone's chair. That's not going to happen. Okay? Then Mr. Watson did a $2 super chat. Ethan Ralph is a great person and a great father. Wow, someone is a huge fan of Ethan Ralph tonight. I don't know who this is. They tipped another $2 super chat. I tell my son Ethan Ralph is a guy you can trust. I get the feeling there's some kind of a running meme here, and we're going to see more of these in the weeks ahead. Okay? Then we've got Bob Smith, who did a Mexican 100 peso super chat, which I have absolutely no idea what that value's at. So give me a second. I actually have to pull out a currency converter here.
Tip position.
I don't know what the peso is valued at currently. Let's see. All right. So that is the equivalent of $24.81. That is a nice, big, juicy super chat. So let's get that on the leaderboard.
Yikes.
And says, looking forward to it. This is Ralph. Sorry if I stepped on the announcement. Now, I don't know if that's...
Imagine you living your life day to day, completely and utterly dependent on other people's generosity just so you can live. Like, you bring nothing to the table. You offer nothing on whatever platform you're on. And you're completely and utterly dependent on other people's generosity. It just gets you through the day. Damn. Has to be soul shattering. I can understand why he's an alcoholic. Fucking A, bro. You have to live like that every fucking day. Good God. He was insightful, entertaining, charismatic. It'd be different because at least he's bringing something to the table. He brings none of that. Damn.
Truly Ralph or not, I have no idea. I did not speak with him previous, so I don't actually know if that's him or if that's someone trying to impersonate him, which could happen. I gotta be.
Didn't you say you reached out to Ethan to present him the offer and he agreed? Now you're saying you haven't spoken to him previously? Whatever. Let me stop. I'm just nitpicking at this point. I'm just nitpicking at this point.
be careful about what I trust and don't trust, because the last thing I want is someone to come on here and try to impersonate someone and get them in trouble, right? Like, that'd be kind of messed up to come on here, they start contributing, and then they start saying nasty stuff. It's like, wow, you know? And that's happened. That's totally happened in my content before, so that's why I got to be skeptical. But if that is you, Ethan, thank you. You didn't have to do that. That's not going to get you a permanent spot, just so you know, but I appreciate the contribution tonight, okay? How are you saying it's $4? Wait a minute.
He really thinks people give a fuck. He really thinks he's that special. That's fucking amazing. Ooh, shit. Actually, maybe it's a good thing that DSP is as delusional as he is, because boy, if he ever had to accept reality for what it is, I think it'd break him. I mean, he's broken now, but I think it would completely and utterly shatter him and shit. He'd definitely have a mental breakdown, and that would probably be the end after that. Probably a wrap.
It's $4.96. I just did Mexican peso to United States dollar, and it was a 500. Oh, it's a 100. I read it wrong.
Oh, the greed is insatiable. What a dit.
It's $4.96. Okay, thank you. I did do it wrong. I thought it was 500. I misread the super chat. That's my fault. All right, so actually Mr. Watson is still the top super chatter. And so we have to undo this now, because I said, what, 24? What were we at? Shit. No. Yeah, I said it was 24, right? No, I said...
Can you not subtract 24 from 42? All right, man. All right, bro. Whatever. All right, bro.
it was 28. No, I said it was 24. So we got to subtract. So it would be 22, 18.
What are we doing? You can't... Let me bring this back. I got to bring this back. You can't tell me that this was a struggle session. What is wrong with you, Phil?
How are you saying it's $4? Wait a minute. It's $4.96. I just did Mexican peso to United States dollar, and it was a 500. Oh, it's a 100. I read it wrong. It's $4.96. Okay, thank you.
We're just imagining fucking shit now. We're just completely and utterly imagining shit. Off of his mental fucking rocker. Okay, I can't remember who it was who did it. I think it was it's Logan. Is it Logan K, I think? Who did that series? Going over DSP's autism with those other two detractors. Big ups to all three of them. I'm definitely gonna go over that. I mean, I was planning on doing it anyway, but I'm definitely going over that. Because I got me a bunch of examples to throw at that shit. Holy fuck. Because this shit is fucking it was Logan K, but there was... I'm trying to think of the name of the detractor who actually did it now, though. Here, give me a second, because now I want to make sure I'm giving my proper shots. But I'm definitely going over that, because it's like a 5 or 6 part series. Fantastic stuff. Oh boy, Phil. Oh boy, Phil. Got it. Okay, it's Taking L's. I think Logan K helped him collaborate in it, or something along those lines. I'm not sure why Logan's name's popping up in there, but I feel like he was part of it. But it's Taking L's, who's the one who did the series. Yeah. And there's... Go ahead and give our proper shout outs to our Taking L's. Big ups to them. Let's see here. They did 5 parts. Okay, bet. They did 5 parts. Damn, has it really been that many months? Damn. I didn't realize it's been so long. I don't think I was planning on doing it until the end of the year, beginning of next year anyway, but still. Alright, but yeah, big ups to Taking L's. I felt like I thought dude was in there on that. I'll take a look. I'm not sure if I feel like Logan was part of that in some type of way, but big ups to Taking L's in that series. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I got so much to add to that, kind of, sort of, but I got so much to add to that. That's just gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun. That's gonna be a fun listen. All right, here we go.
I did do it wrong. I thought it was 500. I misread the super chat. That's my fault. All right, so actually Mr. Watson is still the top super chatter. And so we have to undo this now, because I said, what, 24? What were we at? Shit. No. Yeah, I said it was 24, right? No, I said it was 28.
Look at how flustered he is. What's wrong with you, Phil? This is legitimately the definition of forbidden math. What's wrong with you? Damn. Wow. Okay. All right, man. I got you. Well, whatever.
No, I said it was 24. So we got to subtract. So it would be.
It's almost like he's trying to buy time because he realized that he looks like a fucking idiot, and he has to like figure this shit out in his head. But he's trying to buy time by, well, what was it? Was it 24? Was it 28? It was 28. No, maybe it was 24. Like, Phil, what is wrong with you? Pull out the calculator, bro. Just get the math right. Damn, Phil.
22, 18. And then we add the 5. So it'll be 23. We're now at 23. Okay. I got screwed up there. So sorry about that. All right. So we're at 23 in support.
So he can't handle, so we know for sure he can't handle multiple numbers at once. People had already speculated that, but that's the proof in the pudding there. Okay, no worries. At least he can't do it in his head. No worries, I guess. I mean, pen and paper still exists. Fucking calculator exists. Counting your fingers still exists. I mean, you have options, Phil.
Thank you to Mr. Watson. 10, 14. Actually, it should be 19. We should be at 19 right now. I'm redoing the math again fast. Wait. There's 5. All right, let's do it on the...
Yeah, this is getting... whoever's editing this for me, I need a timestamp on this shit. Like, call this shit forbidden math or something. But I need a timestamp for this shit. Good God, bro. He should not be struggling like this. This is not a thing that should be happening. Not with such small numbers.
Fly. 5 from Slayer. 5 from Watson is 10. 2 from Watson is 12. 2 from Watson is 14. Then you add the 5 from Ralph. That's 19. We're at 19. I don't know how I screwed that up so bad. All right. I totally thought that it was 500 pesos. I misread it. All right. So whoever...
But then, I got to give him some credit there. Think about that. He was able to go back and remember exactly what everybody else gave up until that tip. Here's this back.
All right. So we're at 23 in support. Thank you to Mr. Watson. 10, 14. Actually, it should be 19. We should be at 19 right now. I'm redoing the math again fast. Wait.
No, he's reading off he's reading all the tips on this tip page and shit. That's how he's actually getting it. He may not have actually remembered it. He's just reading it all off. But then how would he remember who's tipping what if all he sees is their email and he doesn't have that shit memorized? See, now that just opens a whole new can of worms.
There's 5. All right, let's do it on the fly. 5 from Slayer. 5 from Watson is 10. 2 from Watson is 12. 2 from Watson is 14. Then you add the 5 from Ralph. That's 19.
Okay, never mind. It's only 3 people, so never mind. But even still, the fact that he was able to go ahead and bring all of that back like that, I don't know.
At 19. I don't know how I screwed that up so bad. All right.
I
totally thought that it was 500 pesos. I misread it. All right, so whoever that is, if it's him or not, thanks and welcome. And then we have Archmage with a $5 super chat who says, everyone wants to see you and Ralph do a wrestling show. Only the Kino Casino ball suckers are ones trying to stop it from happening. I don't think anyone's trying to stop it from happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, no one's trying to stop that shit from happening. Kino Casino thought that shit was going to be hilarious.
I don't think I've even seen a single person be like, there's been, I'll be honest, there have been a couple people in comments, basically, like video comments. And they're like, no one likes Ethan Ralph because he did this and he did this and he did this. And I'm like, okay, great. What does that have to do with the show? What does that have to do with a wrestling commentary show, right? Like, this isn't a news show. This isn't a drama show.
He tried to use that same logic when he sided with Kino Casino, too. So, yet again, that's going to fall on deaf ears.
This is going to be a show where it's just going to be commentating on pro wrestling. So, if someone can commentate on pro wrestling and they're entertaining and they add something to the show and people want to see it, then I don't think there's a problem. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, that's literally what we're going to see happens next week. Okay, let's find out how it goes. Fair enough? All right. Okay, and I received a $3 tip Listen to this. Ethan is great. I remember when my car broke down on the side of the highway. Ethan drove me all the way in a supersonic speed, and then he fixed my car, and then he had me back on the road in no time, and he never asked me for anything in return. Wow. Wow. Well, he certainly sounds like an upstanding citizen, doesn't he? Citizen of where? I don't know, because everyone tells me that he lives in Mexico, so I don't know. I really don't care. Again, I don't give a shit. Here's what I care about. Does his internet work? Does his camera work? Does his mic work? Can he speak? And can he add to the show? That's what I care about. All right. So there you go. All right. So folks, that's the initial contributions that we've gotten. Now, as you can see, all right, right now, I'm just curious because I haven't looked yet. I just want to see how we're doing, viewers wise and everything, because I haven't even given anything a look. Let's see between the two services. All right, we got like 87 over on Kick, and we got like 200 roughly on YouTube. Obviously, that's okay if we can get support, but I would obviously like more. Perhaps on a week when I have these guest hosts, it would bring more interest to the show. I don't know. I think this week is an interesting week to commentate on wrestling because of Cena's promo. Like Cena's promo particularly, really, a lot of people liked the fact that Cena has gone heel, and he is actually cutting heel promos. It's not like some bullshit.
They're going heel a long ass time ago, truth be told. But then his brand is so predicated on him being a face that even then, it's even as being a heel, it feels half-hearted and whatnot. So it is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he could squash out some of his misgivings with some other wrestlers to clean the storyline up, so be it. But other than that, should have gone heel a long ass time ago.
Shit where they half-assed it, but he is going on full heel, and people are really enjoying that, including me. So I thought, you know, let's see how it goes tonight. Let's see how many people show up for that. I guess we'll find out. All right, well, I'm going to start commentating in a moment. But what I would like to do, guys, let's get some momentum going. First of all, we haven't seen a single person sub yet on Kick. Let's get our first sub of the night from over on Kick, whether it's a gift or just a quick one that someone, you know, hasn't done. Let's get our first sub of the night from Kick. We got some super chats already. We got a tip. Now let's see Kick buy-in. All right. Or we haven't seen any members yet on YouTube. Let's get a member or two on YouTube. Funny. Let's get a little bit all from every little source, and then we'll begin. And by the way, I absolutely, after having bought another pack of cards, want to at least unpack one pack of cards tonight, so we can get to the 100. That would be perfect. Obviously.
And look, and you know how he said, "I don't like doing stunts. I don't like doing gimmicks." That shit's a gimmick. That shit's a stunt. It's more of a gimmick than a stunt, but it's a gimmick. No matter how you want to shape it or spin it or flip it, it's a gimmick.
The goal is 150. I want to get.
If you're embarrassed by it, be a man and say so, but that's what it is.
To the 150. And if you're not aware, and here's another piece of incentive, take a look. We're at goals 69 of 70. Nice. We're literally at 69 of 70. We're one.
I watch way too much 7 Days to Die because that's all those guys do over there when the number 69 comes up. Nice. But I mean, it's a South Park reference, so it is what it is too. Oh shit! Big ups to the 7 Days to Die community.
Goal away from the reward of DSP Tries It, where I'm actually going to try British food for the first time ever. I've never had any British food at all in my life. And I've heard so many things about sausage rolls, meat pies, bangers and mash, all these different sides. I want to try it. We're right there. If we hit the goal tonight at 150, I'm doing DSP Tries It tomorrow afternoon, right after my late stream. It'll be my dinner. All right. So let's go. Let's get motivated. Get some support on the show. Hit the goal.
Imagine you telling people to get motivated to give you money. Imagine that shit. Oh man, that's like crazy. And sausage rolls and like bangers and mash and shit like that shit's delicious. I mean, he's not going to appreciate it, but he doesn't appreciate anything culturally that isn't Italian, which is ironic because he's not Italian. But whatever. But yeah, that stuff's looking delicious and shit. But it's gonna be wasted on him because you don't appreciate shit.
Unpack the cards, having fun with pro wrestling, and if any contributions come in while I'm doing commentary, I'm going to shout them out right away. Fair enough? So this week, I'm excited to do the commentary because this week, WWE went to Europe.
Imagine that. Okay, so there we go on that. As you know, the first show with Ethan Ralph, at least from financially benefited, DSP was squeamish the entire time. They got view-botted, if I remember correctly. There was all kinds of... It was an interesting show. There was a whole lot of whatever. Seeing Ethan play nice, so to speak, it actually really flexed his chops on wrestling. I mean, he's an old head. He's an old head when it comes to wrestling, which a lot of those guys back during Gamergate, as well as the skeptic community and all that shit, most of those guys are wrestling heads. So it is what it is. A lot of those guys got along with it like that. Remember, Tonka, besides being stuck in that wheelchair, of course, had a pretty successful wrestling show for a while, or wrestling channel, until he sold it, which I think that only came out recently, that he actually sold that channel, and there's 2 guys on it. I think there may be 3 actually. But anyway, they seem to be doing well. So the channel didn't go to waste. So there's a thing on that. Anywho, let's go ahead and finish this off with a nightcap. I think there's 2 drinkers that we're talking about here, so at the very least we can go ahead and give them a nightcap, so to speak. Okay, so how do we feel about it? Well, like I said, the Ethan Ralph thing was short-lived. He was only up there twice, I think. DSP was squeamish the entire time. He showed a level of fear, if not a level of reverence to Ethan, which is for good reason, because Ethan could really, Ethan's audience, I should say, could very much put a hurting on him. There's not too much of a difference, if you think about it, between like if Ethan's audience was as large as it was back in the day, I could say that his audience was as voracious and dedicated as XQC's, Hassan Piker's, Destiny's audience. The only thing that Ethan doesn't have is the number. He doesn't have the numbers anymore like he used to. But he's got a lot of diehards in there, and they'll definitely go the extra mile for him if asked to do so. But anyway, like I said, there was 2 appearances. It is what it was. It was very clear that DSP wasn't going to do that in the long term, because he can't control Ethan, and more importantly than that, in some ways DSP just didn't look at him as a safe or secure option to go back at Kino Casino. And then the other 2 are just whatever. I don't even bother. I don't even care enough to remember their names. So womp 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 womp. R.I.P. to Smart Guys 2.0. Rest in piss. But it was entertaining while PPP was up there and the grill fill segment. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. For the Snort Report, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes. A GTG Network of Productions. For Heart Snorts Gin and Tonic, Tim Snortons, and SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company, and all of our other affiliates and subsidiaries. I've been your host / anchor at GTG, and I'm signing off. And like I said, we'll keep an eye out for basically December of this year, if DSP decides to pick up the baton and try to resurrect Smart Guys again for leading into the Royal Rumble, or the road to the Royal Rumble, and then the road to WrestleMania. I doubt it's going to happen. Pretty confident it won't. But it'll be interesting to see if he tries to do anything either which way. All right, people. Take care of yourselves. Later.
Don't want to represent your life. We start with anybody, so make your choice right.
Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.